Hello and welcome to the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate. Jim Riley here with my buddy Rod Kuntz. Rod,
Good morning, Jim. Good morning. Good morning to everybody.
Hey, I published a couple podcasts in between our shows. Hope you don't mind. I was
Of course
cheating on
not.
you.
Of course not.
Oh, I just got this stack of people that want to be on, which is awesome. Thank you to all the publicists out there that have been reaching out and friends. So yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I cheated on you a little bit there, Rod. But hey, I'm excited about today.
I'm excited about every time we get together. There's always something that pops up, it seems like.
Okay, so if you're listening, you're obviously bright enough to know these aren't live, and we record them, and we record them during the week, and then they get published as soon as they get put together. So this isn't necessarily real time for you, but it's real time for me. I'm enjoying the comments today about social media being down yesterday for several hours. Have you seen any of that?
No, I didn't realize that it was.
Oh, you missed it. You were off at your getting your 4-hour workout in at UPS.
Probably.
So in the morning, everybody's like, oh, I can't get into Facebook. Oh, I can't get into Instagram. The connection's down. Literally, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all the other meta channels were down. I don't know the exact hours for me because I wasn't really paying attention. It felt like 4 or 5 hours.
Was that yesterday morning?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like a relief. People are even posting, like my buddy Danny Dixon from Dixon Flannels.
Right.
He even posted, he's like, I felt so refreshed. He's like, I can't wait for it to happen again.
Yeah. What are the odds, Jim? Yesterday, I post a morning video, every weekday morning and on Instagram, and then it goes to Facebook as well, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday morning was the first time all year that I have missed a day.
Oh, wow.
I was running a little behind. I had the dog outside, and my wife even said, you didn't post a video today. And I said, no, I'll pick it up tomorrow. Right. So I missed it completely and didn't miss it. Didn't even know I missed it.
Yeah, you
That's
didn't have
hilarious.
to write yourself out. You could have just said, oh, Facebook was down. I missed today.
There you go.
Well,
no excuse.
Between that and what are the odds it was Super Tuesday? All of a sudden Meta goes down on Super Tuesday. So,
how? Yeah. No, we're not conspiracy theorists.
Yeah. So that was fun. But you were just giving me a fact before I hit record. And I said, hold that thought. And it has to do with social media. Go back over that fact about 40% of millennials.
Yes. This came from Alan Stein's book, Raise Your Game. And I had taken some notes on this, but in his book, he said 40% of millennials carry a fear of failure. And that's more than any other age group. 40%. And the reason, it's a side effect of the social media culture. People are afraid of being publicly shamed and publicly embarrassed. And
that's insane.
Then and now here's the business side of that. Here's the downside of that. It's one thing to have a fear of failure, but 40% of an entire age group, population group, right? That demographic, when we know, you and I, soft skills, failure is a valuable force, and it forces us to learn, and even when we don't want to, right? Mm-hmm. It's one thing to learn when you want to. That's why we go to school. That's why we go to college. That's why we sign up for seminars. That's why we listen to podcasts, because we want to. But being forced to learn when you don't want to is an uncomfortable thing. And you got to get over that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, it was interesting too, because social media is down and we all use it for different reasons, or all the above, whether that's for your news, your connectivity, your business, your ego, all the things, right? And it's gone for the day and people start panicking. Well, what I'm curious about, what's your plan? If you use social media for business, what is your plan? And if you're in marketing, this is a freebie for you today. If you're in marketing and you're doing social media for a client and that's their sole, outreach program, I would highly recommend that you start building an email database. That way, when social media goes down or you can't access it, or they're blocking too much of the content based on your client, you have an email database to reach out to. There's other forums, right? And, where this came from, the light struck me several years ago. This is probably middle of 2016 when they were harassing Trump and all the other stuff, right? Everybody's getting canceled.
Right.
I had a friend, she's a workout trainer, professional model / but she has like 1 million followers, and her business is based around those followers. She has sponsors and she gets new training clients and all that stuff through those followers. I said, "Hey, how many emails do you have in your database?" She's like, "I don't have any. Why would I have any?" I said, "Well, what happens if you get canceled on Instagram because they don't like you for some reason?" She's like, I didn't think about that." And so, she started gathering emails. That way, at least you can have an alternative. So the recommendation is, if you got clients right now, I would leverage yesterday's outing to go back to them and build an email platform and program around their client base, because now you have some time to build that up in anticipation if this were ever to happen again. And then you won't have a bump in the road, if you will. I have a current client, retail store. They didn't have a very robust email database. And what we did is, every customer that came in for the month of January, February, and now March, every customer that comes in, if they're willing to put their phone number and email into the database for just local, correspondence, that they'd get 2 entries into a contest each month. And I don't think anybody said no. Like, we have a full database now in 2 months. So March is going to be a gimme of customers. Now we have the ability to reach out to people and remind them of what we're doing and what sales and all those other things. So I don't know, Rod, like, we got to be prepared for these outings or for other alternatives.
Right. Well, I'm going to do the flip side of that. I'll hit the other side of that real quick. And that is, we went through a phase with emails where, and I can remember this because, in my prior sales jobs, we always wanted emails. We wanted several ways to contact a client. You wanted their phone number, you wanted their email, you wanted text, you wanted their home address, and you always asked, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were reluctant. They were more willing to give you a phone number than they were an email.
Yeah.
And we would question them. Well, what's the deal? I just get so many emails. I just get bombarded. And that's not untrue even today. There are times I sign up for things and it's like, yeah, I'm interested in this. And all of a sudden I'm getting, an email every single day. And it's not what I signed up for, right? I wanted to be notified if there's a sale, if there's something special coming up, or, once a week maybe. But when you start overdoing it, over promoting that one source, people will cancel you. They're going to go to the unsubscribe and they're going to boot you off. So yeah, once you get that, you have to take care of it and nurture it. You need to keep it updated, but you don't want to abuse the privilege that people give you to contact them.
Yeah.
So that's just my warning there for people. But do it well.
Send out something of value.
Absolutely.
I'm like everybody else. I get tons of emails and I sign up for stuff still, because I want to be reminded that somebody's out there. And what I do, I doubt many people do this, is I just let them flow through. I delete them unless all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, I wanted to look into that again. What ammo prices, right? So
sure.
I get 20 companies sending me ammo pricing, and then once a month I'll look at them, and it's a good reminder. It's like, oh yeah, I just got 20 emails, so I got plenty of choices here. But I believe when you send out an email that it should be of value and have content that's worthy of somebody's time. And if people recognize you for that, then they'll open it up and they'll look at it. Go, oh yeah, I like to get these emails because there's always something worth looking at. But if you're sending one a day, I promise you're not sending anything of value. It's just sending the regurgitation of information. So
it's like getting junk mail in the mailbox.
Yeah. So this all leads up to today's topics. Or topic, I should say. And I'm going to title it Making the Hard Sale. Making the Hard Sale.
Making the Hard Sale.
Okay. I just came up with the title. I want to talk about sales and salesmanship. And I know you're an expert in this field. And this is no secret to you because you've been on my shows and we've been coaching together. I'm neck deep right now in Grant Cardone's stuff, because he sent me so much. It's taken a couple months to get through it, but there's a ton of value there. And Grant's all about salesmanship and making the sale. And I have not been in the roles that you have, whether that's car salesman or multi-level marketing sales, different arenas at the level that you've had success. And I've done a lot of marketing, and I do also understand that everything we do, we're selling something.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
I've learned a ton of things through Grant's books about the nature of a sale and the value of the sale and how to do it the right way as opposed to the wrong way. And some things I already do, and some things I learned. I thought, But what I like the most about the refresh or the content that I'm reading right now, then I'm going to unleash the beast in a minute, which is you.
Ooh.
That's you.
Oh
Um,
no.
what I like the most is just a new way to approach the selling of services or products, and the reminder that, if you want to be successful, you need to be selling. And if you're selling something that you believe in, whether that's a service or a product, it's not that hard. The hard sale, the definition of a hard sale becomes much different when you believe in it and you know the values there and the qualities there, because then the hard sale is because you're passionate about somebody else experiencing what you know the truth on. And I'm going to give a quick story. Then, Rod, I want you to talk about some sales tactics that have worked in the past for you. And the story goes only as recent as last night's school board meeting. It actually wasn't a board meeting; it was a bond committee meeting.
Hmm.
And so our school is pulling a really small bond in comparison to just about anybody else across the country. It's because we have one building that had mold, and in order to remediate that, we had to tear the walls down, which had asbestos, which had to be remediated. All of a sudden, you went from a small repair to a $1.4 million repair, basically the whole building, which was built in 1910, by the way. So there's some work to do there. However, as a board, we've developed these committees, one of them being what we call the facilities committee. And we invited teachers and staff and paraprofessionals and locals to come out and be a part of this committee. And what we did is we walked through the process from day one, like, here's the mold, here's the asbestos, we've got to tear it down, this is who's going to do the work, we put out the bids. Like everything that we did the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 months, these people are intimately involved with. Okay. So now we're running a bond in the election in May. By the way, if you're listening, this is important. We're running this election in May. And so the meeting that we had last night was a bond committee meeting where all the different departments and volunteers and locals and teachers got together to say, how are we going to reach out to the community and explain to them how important this bond is and why we need it? And I said, hey, is there anybody in this room that does not believe in this bond? Raise your hand right now. And there's, I don't know, 30, 40 people. Nobody raised their hand. Everybody believed in the bond. And I said, why do you believe in the bond? It's because you know intimately why we need it. The ins and outs of this bond, the electrical, the asbestos, the mold, what we're going to do, the fact that we're not going to go over the top and make this a luxury apartment. They know everything about it. I said, it's your job now to go out and knock on doors and explain to the community exactly what you know, what your knowledge is, and sell them on this bond, because without it, the school cannot operate the way that it's been operating, because that building had 5 classrooms in it. All those 5 classrooms are now divided into other classrooms. So they're doubling down in 5 classrooms, right? So 10 classrooms are affected right now. I said, go out and sell this to your community with the exact knowledge that you have on the subject. And that's the point, Rod, is that it's got to be a hard sell. If this doesn't get passed, I don't know what's going to happen. Those kids are going to continue to suffer their education, their comfort, all the above. The list is long, right? So this is a hard sell, but it's not hard to buy once you understand everything in that those people know in that room. And people's light went on like, oh, good point. The same goes for the products and services we sell on a daily basis. That's how I look at that, right? It's not a hard sell when you understand the why and the quality of the product. Okay.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So I don't know. I can't add to that. That's summing up professional sales right there from a political arena, but it's necessary. And Well, let me back up, because not everything that's on the market today and not everything that we sell is necessary. But does it improve the quality of somebody's life? Will it improve the quality of their life? So I will back up just a quick second, and I'll talk cars for a second, because everyone has a car. Well,
Yeah.
most everyone has a car, and they need a car. And so, what is a car? It's transportation. It gets you from point A to point B. And so, I never, when I was in the car business, I never lost sight of that. That's all a car is. It's transportation. Now, that makes it a tool. Well, how many people are you transporting? Okay. Do you have kids? Do you have pets? Will you be pulling? Do you have horses? What do you do for recreation? Are you going to be pulling a boat? Are you going to be pulling a camper? Well, all of these things matter. So you have to have an intimate knowledge of the customer. You ask the questions that need to be asked in order to find the right tool for the job. Yeah, because it's not just transportation. You can't use a Volkswagen to pull your horse trailer, right? A VW. So a little bug. Which reminds me, when I first started doing car sales, and I was scared out of my mind because of the reputation of the used car salesman and all that
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to, but I had people tell me that this can be a very lucrative career, and it was, but you had to be good at it. You had to be interested in people, and you really had to listen. And the very first car sale that I actually did, a gentleman came in looking for a pickup truck, and he needed it the next day because he had to move out of his apartment, and he needed a truck, and he was moving to Texas. He had a new job. And so it was a need.
Hmm.
Absolutely positively had this need. And so I just listened to him. I was a greenhorn, right? A green pea, they call you. And so I didn't listen carefully enough because I didn't have all the information I needed. Well, it turned out he had bad credit. It turned out that he couldn't buy what he wanted, that he thought he needed, but he still needed basic transportation.
Sure.
And I bring this up because he didn't end up driving away in a pickup truck. He ended up driving away in the only car he could afford to purchase with his credit, and it was a Volkswagen Beetle. So I mean, literally the opposite of what he came in for. But his primary function was he needed a car. He needed to transport. He's going to have to find a different way to move his stuff. But you have to ask investigating questions, and that's not prying. It's getting personal, because sales is personal. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is I encountered people all the time that said, "Oh, I could never be a salesman. I could never do what you do." And that's just a lie, because we all sell. You have
Sure.
to sell.
Yep.
And just like public speaking, and you've probably heard me when we were teaching together last year, I always told kids, to get over that fear of public speaking, all you have to do is put yourself back in the third grade, and it's show and tell. Anybody can show and tell. And
Hmm.
what did you bring to show and tell? You brought what you were passionate about. You brought what was important to you, and you were able to express why it made you happy. And that's all we do. Is if you're selling a product or a service, what does that service or product do for you? What makes you passionate about it? And how do you know it's going to help other people? Because if you're doing that, you're a third grader doing show and tell, and it's not BS. You're not doing smoke and mirrors. You're not selling people something they don't want, need, or desire. You're just presenting it in an authentic way, and telling the story and helping them align their needs with the features and benefit of your product or service. That's all you do. And
Yeah.
anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. And
It,
you do need to get good at it.
it's funny, in Grant's book, the chapter I just read was my biggest sale. If you know him, you're like, oh, apartment building or, complex, 100 offices or something. Biggest sale, his wife, trying to sell himself to his future wife. That was his biggest sale. Took him over a year.
Right.
And to your point, we're all selling something, every day that we're operating, whether that's ourselves or a product or goods or service. So Rod, one of the things, and you've started to do that, for the listeners is, I'm just thinking about all the people that listen to the show and all the different types of businesses that they have. and you talk about asking the right questions. It doesn't matter what business you have. You can still ask the right questions for that business to garner the sale. Whether you're in a retail environment or a service, there's always a good lead of questions to find out what the customer's looking for.
Absolutely. And those needs change. That's the other thing. And this is why I'm going back to your email database. This is why you keep that email database, because people's needs, wants, and desires change over time. And even if you have something you think would be perfect for them, it might not be the right timing for them, whether it's money, whether they don't see the need for it themselves, or whatever. But keeping in touch with those people, because things change. And I'll give you a quick example. I live in an older home. It's 80 some, almost 90 years old. Been here for 20 years. It's awesome, well built, wood floors. I mean, the trim. It's beautiful, and it was convenient for us at the time. Raised all of our children here, and it was one of 3 homes we lived in, but it's the last one where the kids actually grew up and left the nest. But it has storm windows.
Mm-hmm.
Storm windows. So every spring I have to take the storm windows off, clean them, get the screens clean, put the screens up. And it's a 2-story house. So I get the big ladder out, and I don't mind doing all that myself. Well, last year I had a little problem. I had a little physical disability, and all of a sudden something that was never an issue is now an issue for me. And
Sure.
I'm saying, okay, well, and I'd even done the math. I did the math on energy savings and cost savings and all that. I did the math, and it was a break even. There was no need for me to spend the money on putting in new windows. Well, that was 20 years ago. That was 15 years ago. That was 2 years ago. This year, my needs have changed. It's different now. So now all the people who have been knocking on my door over the years to, give me a quote on new windows, I was never interested. I am now. So, and we actually have somebody in our young entrepreneur syndicate who does windows.
That's right.
Just getting started. So
call.
timing's good. I already talked to Kevin. So
Yeah,
it's coming up. But again, it's timing and follow up. This is the point of this is follow up. You have to be an expert at following up if you're going to be successful in any business. Follow up is key.
You know what's so funny about this story, real quick, Rod, and we talk about this a lot in our entrepreneur group, is that you have to be out hitting the pavement, doing the work, putting in the time, investing in yourself, right? So, as suggested, you have met Kevin, who we just talked about, the window guy, before.
Mhm.
You've met him before in common circles, but it never resonated with you. And actually, your daughter's pretty close with him, because I know them outside of the circle, right? I've been talking to Kevin about getting into the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate for a year, since he started his business outside of the company he used to work for. He started a door and window business on his own. He finally joins our group last week. And part of our routine, as you know, is for you to reach out and do a follow-up. Hey, welcome to the team call.
Right.
Right. Now, I'm not saying this is how it all transpired, but the fact is, Kevin is now top of mind. Your windows are top of mind. If he lands this one opportunity, it will cover the whole purpose for him being in the group.
Absolutely.
Because he got off his butt, he invested in himself, he invested his time, and energy to be a part of something, to reach out beyond his comfort zone. And that's just, people, this is how it works. Now maybe Kevin does or doesn't get the job at Rod's house, but the point is he got presented one more opportunity to present his services to somebody. And at that point, it becomes a numbers game.
Absolutely.
Enough introductions will lead you to the customer that says yes, that will lead you to the job that covers your bills for the month or for the year or whatever that looks like.
And then it's referrals and follow up on the referrals.
That's right. So the life cycle of a sale, especially a hard sale, isn't as hard as you might think it is. It's just a matter of believing, doing the work, getting involved, and letting the whole thing come full circle. So I love that. I want to end on that story, mainly because, I'm looking at it from the outside going, had all that stuff not happened, you guys wouldn't have had that conversation, so kind of cool.
Absolutely. It is. It is. Well, we'll wrap it up on that, but I want to end with this.
Yeah.
I have the 3 M's, and I've mentioned this before, but not for quite some time. And that is, make a decision. Everything starts with a decision. Make a decision, make a plan, and that's all good. But the next thing is the most important: make a move. Make a decision, make a plan, and make a move. Nothing happens without the action. You got to move on it.
True story. Right on. Great way to end this call. If you like what we're talking about, we'd love to have you in the Young Entrepreneurs Syndicate. We meet every Monday night on a Zoom call, 6 p.m. Montana time. It's $99 a month. What do you get for that? Well, you get our time every Monday night. We do 30 minutes of soft skills, and then we'll answer all the questions that our entrepreneurs have for the next 30 minutes or more. We've gone over before, and it's not just entrepreneurs either. It's intrapreneurs. Rod, we've got a few intrapreneurs in there we've helped out, right?
Absolutely. And I've been an entrepreneur. In fact, I liked being an entrepreneur, but I like entrepreneurs better.
Yeah. Well, so we're here.
That's just where my stage of life. But yeah, we can help you no matter where you are.
Not to mention, we have a slew of tools on the backside, our website. We've got business plans, NDAs. I mean, the list goes on. Ways to help you. And you've got 3 experts to pull from. So we'd love to have you. If you like the show, please share it. If you've got any ideas for us, email us. Love to hear from you. So Rod, talk to you next week.
All right. Always a pleasure, Jim.